Ek is Anthea Ramolebeng. Ek is die adjunkvoorsitter vir hierdie komitee vandag van die Departement van Binnelandse Sake.
I would like first, before we can proceed, to rise, stand, and do a meditation or a little prayer.
Kan ons asseblief staan vir 'n oomblik van stille gebed of meditasie?
Thank you so much. Let's firstly apologize to the public or community that is present here for us arriving a bit late. We had a bit of a challenge on the road, but we tried to be here as soon as possible. So therefore, we sincerely apologize for the delay.
Ek wil graag eerstens begin deur om verskoning te vra aan die gemeenskap vir die feit dat ons laat gearriveer het. Ons het wel 'n paar uitdagings op die pad ervaar, maar nie teenstaande vir ons om verskoning.
With that, I've already introduced myself. I would like to introduce the members of parliament who are with us today. I'll start from my left. Honorable Kanyile. Honorable Tito. And Honorable Logwase.
Dan wil ek graag ook net die komitee aan die voorstel. Aan my linkerkant is agbare Kanyile, dan het ons agbare Tito en agbare Legwase aan my regterkant.
We also accompanied by the staff from parliament, committees who are here, who have been here with you guys whilst you were waiting for us to assist with the process of the public hearing.
Dan wil ek ook graag erkenning gee aan die personeel, ondersteuningspersoneel wat hier by ons was en vir ons gewag het.
Let me also acknowledge all those who are present here. We appreciate your attendance today, and we hope today's discussions or submissions to the bill would be fruitful and map out a way forward regarding the Electoral Amendment Bill. But let me also acknowledge councillors that are present here with us. I would like to get a sense from councillors. Is there a speaker? Is the mayor present amongst yourselves, councillors?
Ek wil ook graag almal verwelkom van die gemeenskap en dankie dat u hier is om vir ons insette te lewer oor hierdie wetsontwerp. Ek wil net 'n indikasie kry is hier dalk raadslede, die speaker van die raad, burgemeester miskien teenwoordig?
Are they councillors only? Can we have one of the councillors to formally welcome us?
Kan ons een van die raadslede kry om ons formeel te verwelkom?
Good mornings, goeiemôre. By die geleentheid wil ek gebruik maak om ons parlement te verwelkom hier in Wrenchville, Upington. It's really a pleasure to have you here as the host councillor, Councillor Charles Phillips. So u is meer as welkom in Wrenchville.
Good morning. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity and I welcome the members of parliament here. We are pleased to have you here. I'm Charles Phillips and thank you very much. We welcome you to Kuruman.
Let's also acknowledge that we have two interpreters. We have an Afrikaner one and we also have a Setswana one present who will also be assisting or interchanging between the two.
Dames en here, dan het ons ook Afrikaanse tolkdiens en ook Setswana tolkdiens wat sal afwissel vir tolking gedurende die sitting.
Dumela bagaetsho, re leboga thata, leina la me ke George Phillips, re dumela go bo leina le rona fane mo kopano eno ya gompieno lo amogelesegile ka diatla tsopedi. Charles. Tshwarelo, that is Charles Phillips.
Okay, thanks. We can then proceed to start with the meeting. Let me firstly indicate the purpose of the hearings. Parliament has come to the people to listen to the views of the people on this important bill as is required by the Constitution. Members of Parliament are here to listen. They will not ask questions or they will not seek any clarity regarding this submission today or answer any questions to the public. Therefore, it means your submissions or the main aim of the discussions today is mainly on the submissions you'd be doing towards the Electoral Amendment Bill, nothing outside that. There is no submissions regarding the service delivery issues. We are not here for that. We are here to speak on the Amendment Bill, on how do we seek or what should shape a way forward regarding that.
Dames en here, die doel van vandag se sitting is om u insaag in te vorder rakende die verkiesingswysigingswetsontwerp. Ons is hier om na julle insette te luister en dit aan te teken. Ons is nie gemagtig om vrae te vra of vrae te beantwoord nie. Ons wil graag julle insette rakende hierdie wetsontwerp invorder en luister wat julle te sê het, dat ons gaan ongelukkig geen insette rakende dienslewering of enige ander wetsontwerpe aanhoor nie. Dit is slegs wat verband hou met die verkiesingswysigingswetsontwerp.
Se re se tletseng fano gompieno bagaetsho ke gore parlamente ya rona e tle fano fa ka molao o mametleletsweng e le molao wa ditlhopho. Re tle fano go tla go utlwa maikutlo a lona ka ga molao tlhomo ono o tlhabolotsweng. Se re tla re se dira, re tla be re sa bui ka sepe fela gotlhelele, mme re tla be re buisana le lona ka ditlhabololo tse di dirilweng mo teng ga molao tlhomo ono wa rona wa ditlhopho. Ke se re tla be re se dira e le gore re direla gore rona re tla re kgone go utlwa maikutlo a lona. Rona jaaka maloko a parlamente ga re tle go botsa dipotso tsa go utlwa gore ke dilo dife tse lo batlang re di tlhaloganya ka tsela e tseneletseng sentle. Se re tla be re se dira fela re reetsa gore lona la reng mo kopano eno ya rona e le gore tla re kgone go tsamaya re kokoantse maikutlo a eleng a lona a amanang le molaotlhomo ono wa ditlhopho o re tlileng fano ka one.
Thank you. I would give a bit of a background regarding why we're here. On the 11th of June 2020, the Constitutional Court in the New Nation Movement, NPC and others versus the President of the Republic of South Africa and others, the New Nation Movement case declared the Electoral Aid Act of 1998, Act number 73 of 1998, to the extent that it requires that elder citizens may be elected to the National Assembly and provincial legislatures only through their membership of political parties. The declaration of unconstitutionality was suspended for a period of 24 months to afford Parliament an opportunity to remedy the effect in the Electoral Act giving rise to the unconstitutionality. The Minister of Home Affairs introduced the bill to Parliament on the 10th of January 2022. The committee published the bill in all official languages for comments on 21 January 2022, and the closing date was 21st of February through the oral submissions that we had. Briefly, the draft bill proposes an amendment to the Electoral Act to include independent candidates in the national and provincial legislatures. Therefore, we'll start with the process of hearing your submissions towards the amendment bill. Where I'm sitting, I'm seeing a lot of people having copies of the bill, which all of us, we know why we're here and what requires to happen.
Ek sal vir u bloot opsomming gee van hierdie wetsontwerp. Die inleiding sê vir ons dat die Grondwethof in sy uitspraak in die New Nation Movement teen against others versus the President of the Republic of South Africa het die kieswet van nommer 73 van 1998 ongrondwetlik verklaar in die mate waartoe dit vereis dat volwasse landsburgers slegs deur hul lidmaatskap aan politieke partye tot die nasionale vergadering en provinsiale wetgewers verkies mag word. Die Grondwethof het die parlement gelas dat hierdie gewraakte artikels van die wet reggestel moet word binne 'n tydperk van 24 maande vanaf die datum van sodanige uitspraak en waar 24 maande vanaf Junie 2020 tot Junie 2022 bereken moet word. Dit is op 10 Januarie 2021 of 2022 voorgelê aan die parlement deur die minister van Binnelandse Sake en op 21 Januarie 2022 is die opsomming in alle tale bekend gestel. Die doel van die wetsontwerp is om die wet te wysig deur die invoeging van sekere definisies as gevolg van die uitbreiding van die wet ten einde onafhanklike kandidaate in te sluit as deelnemers aan verkiesings in die nasionale vergadering en provinsiale wetgewers. Ek sien ook, u het almal afskrifte voor u kan daardeur gaan en ons sal dan die vloer kan open om u geleentheid te gee vir 'n spreekbeurt om u insaag te lewer rakende hierdie wetsontwerp.
Re tlhalose le ka Setswana gore go tlhaloswa fano fa gore kgotlatshekelo ya molaotheo ya mo Aforika Borwa e dirile gore go nne le mametlelelo ya molao ono o amana le New Nation Movement and mmogo le go akaretsa batho ba bang ba ba amiwang ke molao ono wa ditlhopho wa 1998 e le molao wa bo 73 wa 1998. Ka mantswe a mangwe se o se dirang fano fa o letlelela batho ba e leng gore ke bontlhopheng ba e leng gore ke ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi ba ne ba sanke ba ne ba tšhono kgotsa sebaka sa gore le bone ba ka itlhagisa jaaka batho ba ba batlang go tsenela ditlhopho mme jaanong molao ono o dira gore ba kgone go nna le sebaka sa go dira jalo le bone ka bo bone. Jaanong molaotlhomo ono o e leng gore go palamente ya molaotheo o laetse palamente gore o baakanye e batla gore go baakangwe dikarolo dingwe tse e leng gore di ntse di sa letlelele seno gore go kwalwe mo teng ga tsone e le gore go tla go bone gore molao ono o jaanong wa dumalana gore batho ba ka nna ba itlhagisa jaaka bontlhopheng ba e leng gore ke batho ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi. Thulaganyo eno yotlhe go te itle go tsaya dikgwedi di le 24 go simolola ka Seetebosigo kgotsa ka June 2020 go ya go fitlha ka June wa 2022. So ra lemoga gore ba le bantsi ba lona le tshwere molaotlhomo ono mo matsogong a lona ka jalo gore la tlhaloganya gore ke ka lebaka lang ha re le fano ka jalo ke se re tla re buisana ka sone mo nakong eno yotlhe.
Before we proceed, let me introduce another member of parliament who has just joined us, who comes amongst the area, if I'm correct. Honorable Peacock.
Ek wil graag nog 'n raadslid bekendstel wat nou by ons aangesluit het wat van hierdie geweste afkom. Dit is agbare Pico.
Ke leloko le lengwe gape la palamente le re batlang go le itsise mo go lona gore o sa tswa go goroga e leng motlotlegi people.
We are now proceeding to the submissions. Therefore, would each listen to speakers that would make submissions or would want to speak on the amendment bill. Each speaker would be given 3 minutes to make their presentation or submission. And therefore, we require all of us to respect different views that will be coming from the floors or different speakers that will be speaking. And we need to preach tolerance to the process so that it becomes fair and transparent to all of us present in this house. Therefore, I will open the floor for submissions that require us to be made by pointing out the number of speakers that would like to speak. Can I have a show of hands for those who would want to make the submissions? The chairs in the middle that are put here are allocated to those who would be speaking. Therefore, it means if I point your hand to come and speak, you would be seated in the row in the middle.
Dames en here, ons sal nou geleentheid gee om te luister na u insaag. Ons vra asseblief dat u 3 minute sal gebruik om u voorlegging te lewer of u insaag te lewer en ook dat ons mekaar sal respekteer en geduldig wees en ook verdraagsaam sal wees teenoor elke persoon wat 'n spreekbeurt kry. Die stoele hier in die middel is uiteengesit vir persone wat 'n spreekbeurt wil hê en dan vra ons ook vir persone wat nou graag 'n geleentheid wil hê om hulle hande ook net op te steek. Ons sal u uitwys en dan kan u na die middel toe beweeg.
Ka jalo bagaetsho re tla go kopa matsogo a batho ba ba batlang go tla go tlhalosa maikutlo a bone ka molaotlhomo ono o. Re na le ditulo tse di pitikolotsweng tse di fa gare seno tse ba tsaya karolo ke bone ba ba tlileng go dula mo go tsona. Mongwe le mongwe o tla newa metsotso e le meraro gore a kgone go bua, mme fa yo mongwe a bua ke kopa gore lotlhe ka tswetswe lo mo reetse ka kelotlhoko ka tidimalo le botlotle yo tlebeng a bua fela jaaka le lona le batla gore lo tlotlwe ha lo tla bo lo ntsha dintlha tsa lona. Ka jalo re kopa matsogo a ba batlang go bua ba tla newa ditulo tse di mo gare gore ba ka bua jaanong. Lo ka tsholetsa matsogo fa lo batla go dira jalo.
You can start. You'll be the first speaker at the back. Can I have first sets of hands to speak, make submission?
Kan ek asseblief die eerste stel hande kry wat wil 'n spreekbeurt hê vir 'n indiening of 'n voorlegging?
So ra kopa bagaetsho matsogo a oketsegileng ba ba batlang go tla go ntsha ditshwaelo ke tšhono.
Can we have another round?
A gona le a mangwe matsogo.
Yes,
Ons sal nog 'n
you
ronde
can
oopmaak.
follow. Yes, Mama, you can come this side. Ke kopa ba na leng interest ya go bua o go etsa submission regarding the bill ba tsholetse matsogo.
Those interested in making some inputs, please
Councillor,
raise
you
your
can-
hands.
Die van u wat belangstel om 'n insaag te lewer, steek asseblief u hande op.
I'll take this as a first round. Those who want to speak will then come on the second round. We're here to listen to your submissions. Therefore, we're not restricted on times. So kindly feel free if you want to make your submissions. Even if you read them out through a paper, it's still okay, but would want to hear you make that submission.
Ons gaan hierdie as die eerste ronde ag. Sou u voel dat u nog steeds 'n spreekbeurt wil hê, sal ons die vloer oopmaak vir 'n tweede ronde. U kan vry voel om die insaag te lewer. Al is dit op papier, u is welkom om dit te lees. Ons wil dit graag hoor.
Re tla simolola ka setlhopha se se setseng se dutse ga jaanong jaana, mme tla re moragonyana ga o ikutlwa gore o santsane o batla go bua, gololesega. O ka nna ebile wa ba wa kwala dintlha tsa gago mo pampiring e o ka nnang wa feleletsa o batla gore naya yone ha e le gore gongwe o batla go dintsha ka mokgwa o ntseng jalo. Re tla simolola ka setlhopha seno, ke setlhopha sa ntlha.
Before we start with the process, speakers, kindly, when you speak, make introductions of who you are or where you come from, and make an indication whether you support nor reject the bill before you make your submissions. And kindly feel free to do that submission within the language you are comfortable or are best suited to speak on. You are not obliged to make a submission speaking English or Afrikaans.
Dames en here, wanneer u voorlegging begin, noem asseblief vir ons u naam, u van, waar u vandaan kom, of jy 'n organisasie verteenwoordig of as 'n individu u self verteenwoordig, en vir ons ook 'n aanduiding te gee of u die wetsontwerp ondersteun of afkeer. U is ook welkom om u voorlegging aan te bied in die taal waarin u gemaklik voel. Moet asseblief nie voel dat u onder enige verpligting is om dit in Engels of in Afrikaans aan te bied nie. Enige taal wat u dit wil aanbied, is u welkom om te gebruik.
Jalo bagaetsho ha o simolola go bua ka tswetswe re kopa gore o ikitsise gore ko wena mang le gore o tswa kae. Jaanong ha o bua re kopa gore o bue ka puo e o ikutlwang o gololesegile go e bua ga o patelesege gore o bue Seesemane kgotsa Afrikaans puo fela o itse gore bona ba e kgona o dira sentle mo go yone o gololesegile go bua ka puo e ntseng jalo.
Thank you. The first speaker, you can take the floor.
So wa ntlha a ka nna simolola go bua.
Dumelang, leina la me ke Opadile Nelson Hantisi, ke dula mo JTG region, mo Northern Cape. Ke tswa ke le ko John Taolo Civic Organization. Ntlha ya me ra amogela court ruling ya gore e be bone gore Electoral Act e ntseng e tsamaisa ditlhopho under IEC from 1994 ka 2020 ba bona gore go na le dilo tse di tshwanang ke go amentiwa. We welcome the ruling ya court. Now ntlha ya me e ke batlang go e tlhagisa ke lebisitse ko Santla Independent Electoral Commission. Ke le moagi ke na le maikutlo a gore IEC e needa go restructure-riwa from national level, provincial level, go tla go tsena mo local level. And the reference e ke a go e dirang ke yone e khoto e kreileng gore go na le dingongorego, because dingongorego tseo di startile ha go ne go tshwarwa ditlhopho ko bo Matlosana, batho ba transportiwa ka dibese ba se mo areeng ya Klerksdorp ba go thusa ANC go wina di-election. Ke yone e dirileng gore today go na le this amendment. Now, restructuring yewa e tla re thusa gore gongwe di-political party, di-civil society, le batho ba ba batlang gore ba ka ema as independent, ba tsaye karolo go restructure the so-called Independent Electoral Commission, because high independent in a true sense and reference ke se ke bui ke ya go Klerksdorp, but e diragala all over despite gore ga re tsenye di-complain gore gongwe di be di sa goroge ko khoto. Batho ba ba emang e le di-independent Santla ga ba supportiwe ke any companies or ga ba kry madi ko bo European country. Batho ba modimo ba electiwa hela ke their constituencies tse di sinang madi, batho ba ba sa berekeng mara ba fila gore motho yo o honest enough go ka re emela. Now motho yo ha tsiediwa mo ditlhophong, the poor community e palwa ke go koleka madi, e tsa IEC e isa go khoto gore ga re happy ka process ya ditlhopho. Now ke batla gore this thing e registeriwe. It's a very critical point. We know gore re na le di-opposition tse di ko parlamenteng, but most of them ga ba represent the entire aspiration ya batho ba ba humanegileng, ba ile kwa gongwe go ikhumisa. Now nna ke bua at the level ya motho o seng ko parlamenteng, ke itse gore at ground level go diragala eng. Di-independent di tsieditswe di ka be di ntse di win, but because ga bana madi there is nothing they can do. So I therefore suggest gore mo amendmenting e ya nyena restructuring ya IEC is vitally important. Thank you very much.
Before the second speaker, can interpreters to come through?
My name is Mr. Hantise, and I want to pass on my greetings and thank you very much for having come to our area here in Northern Cape. And we are very much very happy with this particular electoral amendment bill. In fact, I want to state right from the beginning that we do support it wholeheartedly. We are very happy that some independent candidates can be actually given an opportunity to run to bring themselves up for election. And we know that this is something that started around about 1994. And then while we were on the journey of this process of elections, it was in 2020 that there came to be a lot of misgivings and some unsatisfactory among the people about how the whole process was running. And then the parliament then was able to take note from that fact that there should be some amendments. And so what we want to point out here is that the Independent Electoral Commission is the one that definitely must be restructured from national up to provincial and right down up to the local situation. We want this to be done because the court obviously has given a word and we need to see this happening. In fact, something that gave rise to this amendment and why people were once not very happy with how the process was running was by the time when there were some elections in Matlosane, which is the Klerksdorp area. There were a lot of people who were escorted to Klerksdorp by buses, but they actually did not belong to that particular area. In fact, things were just happening haphazardly. There was no clear arrangement as to who belongs to which district. So it was just a little bit of some chaos. Now we are very happy that at this particular point in time, these things can be restructured, can be addressed, especially the IEC, and we need to make sure that all these complaints can now be sorted out by us supporting the amendments that the court actually has brought forth to us. Sometimes the problem is that those who are running as independent candidates are not being supported by money. And sometimes what does happen is that they are being defrauded in some way. And so the problem here is that now how do we actually address a situation like that? They don't even have any money support, maybe from any other countries, etc. But this is something that needs to be looked into so that the whole process is fair. And it's not really that there are some people who are benefiting than the others. So we are very happy indeed about this particular process, and then we hope that these restructuring that have been suggested by us will be taken into consideration, especially our IEC must be restructured, and then we need to see that process gaining some benefits and coming into some fruitful results of this exercise that we are in at today.
Goeiedag, my naam is meneer Hantise. Ek groet u en dankie dat u hier is in die Noord-Kaap. Ons ondersteun hierdie wetsontwerp ten volle. Ons is baie gelukkig dat ons van onafhanklike kandidaate ook 'n geleentheid kan kry om in die verkiesings te staan. Dit is 'n proses wat al spruit van 1994 af en ons is bly dat in 2020 is daar besluit om die wet te wysig. Ons voel dat die OVK baie meer betrokke moet wees en dat hulle betrokkenheid op plaaslike, provinsiale en nasionale vlak moet wees, dat dit regdeur plaasvind. Daar was 'n geval waar mense van Klerksdorp af ook aangery is en hulle het 'n sitting bygewoon, maar nie regtig verstaan wat aangaan nie. En ons voel wel om terug te kom dat die OVK geherstruktureer moet word met hulle betrokkenheid daarin. Dit is ook vir ons 'n probleem dat sommige persone nie finansiële ondersteuning kry wanneer hulle verkiesbaar gestel word nie en ook moontlik slagoffers van bedrog kan wees. Ons wil graag hê dat daar toegesien moet word dat die proses regverdig is, maar ons is baie gelukkig met die proses en die OVK se herstrukturering dat dit vir ons positiewe uitwerkings sal hê.
Thank you, Mr. Huntis, for your submission. Can we have a second speaker?
Dumelang bagaetsho. Leina la ka ke Johane Gohentse mang. Ke tswa mo motseng wa Tsaneng gone mo Kapa Bokwena mo. Maitlhomo magolo a ka gore ke tle ha ke gore ke go leboga puso hela gore go tloga ka 1994 ha ditlhopho di ntse di nna gone mara ke ne ke se mo gae ke ne ke le ko mahatshing a mangwe ke ne ke bona e kare ga go dire ke bona e kare go ha ke sibolo go tla go tsena mo gae ke le mo gae kare ga go direge jaaka ko kentseng ke le gone gona le dio dingwe tse e reng ha ditlhopho di tla go tsena re be re sa kgone go di fitlhelela di kitso o itlhele rona bagolo jaana ke sa kgone go tlhaloganya dio di le dintsi jaanong ke sa itse gore a ke gore go ne go le bokoa mo pusong oro jang jaanong ke se ke reng ke itumelela seo hela gore e re lontse o le ko lo lemoge gore go na le dilo dingwe tse re sa kgoneng go di fitlhelela mo gae lo kgone gore lotle mo go rona go tla go utlwa maikutlo a rona jaaka lo tsile gompieno jaana go na le dilo di le dintsi tse o itlhele ka re puso re di feila thata mo pusong ga ke tsore a ke go nna ko magaeng ka gore rona re tswa ko magaeng jaanong ke lo lebogeng hela bagaetsho tshwarang jaana dilo di gorogeng mo go rona jaaka e le rona puso ke a leboga.
Thank you very much. My name is John Huizimang. I live right here in Northern Cape. My goal of being here is to come and express my thanks to the government, to thank you very much for being here. Yes, because we came to realize that from the year 1994, by the time when the elections actually started happening, when that happened, I myself was not in the country. I actually was living in other countries. And then I was assessing the situation and I was able to see that those people in these other countries seem to actually achieve some things that we don't right here in our country. But then because I was aware of these things, I actually was able to come home and actually acclimatize myself with the process that has been put in place. And we are very thankful because we can see that the government is trying very, very hard to make sure that we also can be able to achieve the things that we never achieved before. By my take and my standards, I think there was some weakness in the government, but which has now seems to be worked on. And we are now able to be here for the government to come and list our ideas to ask us and find out exactly how we feel about this process of electoral amendment. But let me say this. Some of the things that I felt we were not able to achieve in the past may just have been the reason that we were living in the rural areas. And sometimes I wonder why does it seem to be like that, that some of us living in the rural areas are not able to achieve everything that others can be able to achieve. But we hope that this is going to come, it's going to bring some benefits to everyone who is getting involved with it. That is this particular process. Thank you very much.
Goeiemôre, my naam is meneer Johan Geitsimang en ek kom van die Noord-Kaap af en my doel vandag is eerstens om die regering te bedank dat hulle hier is. As ek so terugdink, kan ek onthou dat die verkiesing in 1994 begin het, maar ek het ongelukkig nie hier gebly nie. Ek het in 'n ander land gewoon en het gelukkig gesien wat in ons land gebeur het. En ek het selfs myself probeer in hulle skoene plaas. En ek moet sê wat die regering doen is regtig iets vooruitstrewend. Van waar hulle nou is en waar hulle verlede was, kan ons werklik sien dat hulle vooruitgang bereik het. Daar is wel swakhede waaraan gewerk is. Soos byvoorbeeld ons is hier vandag. Ons kan idees uitruil met die regering en ons kan ook sê hoe ons voel oor hierdie wysiging. Voorheen was dit nie moontlik geweest nie, maar dit is wel iets wat ons vandag kan doen. Ek wil ook net uitwys dat ons in minder bevoorregte areas graag wil vra dat daar meer vir ons gedoen moet word. Maar ek is seker dat ons dit wel in die toekoms sal kan doen en bereik. Baie dankie.
Can we have another speaker?
Nou, amen, vanmorgen sê ek vir almal baie dankie en baie goed voor die Here om dit te kan doen. Amen. Dis vir my 'n voorreg vanmorgen om hier te kan staan en sê halleluja, Hosanna vir almal. Ek is bly vir elkeen wat hier is wat kan gekom hoor het wat beteken Hosanna. Die Here sê vanmorgen moet ek julle sê mense, ek het gisterand bitterseer gedroom van 'n swart perd wat my jag. Die perd praat met my en sê my, ek gaan nie heen nie, maar die een wat agter my sal heen gaan. Maar die Here sê, ek moet julle sê, moenie skinder en speel met God nie. Die Here behoort aan almal, ek is almal lief, en vir hom Bertus is ek die liefste. Want hy het deur sneeu met ons gevaar, hy het oral gegaan met almal, en ek sê my suster ook baie dankie. Oral moet ons beweeg om lief te hê mekaar mense. Moenie jou naaste bespreek en dan jou nie lief nie. Wees jou naaste lief soos ek homself lief het.
Can you speak through the mic so that we're able to hear and interact with you?
Nou, as die mense my nie hoor, praat ek op die microfoon. Luister wanneer God met iemand praat deur die nag. As jy droom het, sê van die môre, ek het 'n droom gehad, maar dit was 'n swart perd met die naam Kolnet. Die perd behoort nie aan my nie, maar aan die duiwel. 'n Perd is Satan en ek is nie Satan nie. Ek lyk na Satan want ek is bitterseer. My herder was my man, hy is oorlede 1969. En nou sit ek met 'n klong wat ek nie ken nie. En ek is nou 67 jaar en met afstandelike dae wil ek nie trou nie. Ek wil alleen bly met my seun Piet Swart, Jim Kege, want dit is al wat ek het, en my susters Anna en Martha, almal, my ma se familie, my pa se familie. Ek is van Gaborone, ek is met se suster se kind, ek is 'n boerling van Kimberley 1955, ek behoort die meeste op Gaborone lyne. Maar nou moet ek die 17de September moet ek vaar deur Port Elizabeth, want ek het daar in die waters gegaan en die see soek my weer om 'n biduur daar te gaan dien. Met dit staan ek af en ek sê almal baie dankie, Hosanna vir Jesus. Amen.
My name is Liana Swart, and I just would like to thank everyone for being here today. And I would like you to thank you for the opportunity that we have to be here today. I just quickly want to share a short dream that I had last night. There was a black horse that was chasing me. And what the message that I got was that the Lord says that we should not play. The Lord loves everyone. And wherever he goes, where we go, he goes. You should love your neighbor as you love yourself. And again, if you have dreams or anything during the night, it's important to come and give those dreams. And I would just like to clarify, I'm not the devil. I might look like it, but I'm not. And I would also like to share some background about myself. My husband died years ago. I'm 75 years old. I have land that I own, and I don't know what to do with it. My son, his name is Pieter Swart, and I also have many siblings. I hail from Gaborone in Kimberley, and on the 17th of September, I have to go to PE for a prayer meeting there. But lastly, I would just like to say, God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you for the blessing, Mrs. Swart.
Dankie dat u seën vir ons uitgespreek het, mevrou Swart.
Ka ke Meswart ne ke batla go lebogela tshono eno e lo mphileng yona ke batla go tlotlela ka se se intiragaletseng maloba jaana ke ne ke Lora Toro ke lelekisiwa ke pitsi e ntsho e ntelekisa jalo morena ba nthare nyo ke se ka tshwenyega le fa go ntse jalo ka baka la gore ga se gore go senyegile kgotsa go na le mathata wena o tswele pele o ntse o rata batho le one o nne motho yo o ithatang ka dinako tso tsotlhe ke batla go le bolelela gore le ha ke na le megopolonyana e tshwana le ene e ga se gore tota ke devil ha ke ntse a nyaga ke ene ke motho o siame fela o tshwanang le batho botlhe monna wa me o na tlhokafala ka ngwaga wa 1975 and then ke na le ngwana wa mosimane leina la gagwe ke Peter Swart and then ebile ka di 17 tsa September ke ile ka tsamaka ya go nna ko PE ke maemo a farologaneng a botshelo jwa me dilo tseno tsotlhe tse di ileng tsa diraga mme ke ne ke batla fela go tlhalosa boemo jo ke leng mo go bone ga jaanong jaana mme ke tla bona gore dilo tse di diragalang fa ne gompieno di tlile go ntswela molemo wa eng ke a leboga.
Thank you. Can we have a next speaker? Before the speaker, Councillor, you speak, let's make an acknowledgement. Let's try to speak or make submissions towards the Electoral Amentment Bill. As much as would appreciate to hear your concerns and worries and stressful processes you are going through in your household, this public hearing is mainly for the submission of the Electoral Amendment Bill and would make sure that relevant authorities that should come and listen to your outcries are here. And we thank you for the blessings that you are giving and also the acknowledgement that government is doing towards the work or trying to improve the lives of the communities. Thank you.
Dames en here, voordat die volgende persoon begin praat, wil ek net vir u weer herinner. Baie dankie dat u wense en bedanking uitdruk vir die parlement wat hier is. Ons wil graag vra dat wanneer jy 'n indiening lewer, asseblief hou dit tot op die onderwerp wat die verkiesingswysigingswetsontwerp is. Ons verstaan u mag dalk ander probleme by die huis ervaar of ander kwessies het, maar daar moet ons sal seker maak dat die ander departemente u bereik om daardie kwessies aan te spreek. Vir nou asseblief as u indienings kan beperk tot hierdie wetsontwerp waarmee ons vandag hier is. Ons sal dit baie waardeer.
Re leboga thata bagaetsho pele go bua yo latelang ke kopa gore ka tswetswe a re direng gore re bueng ka se re setletseng fano e leng dimametlelelo tsa molaotlhomo wa rona ra itse gore batho ba na le maemo a farologaneng kgotsa mathata dilo tse di ntseng jalo re kopa gore mme ha re bua fela ka se re setletseng fano se lefapha le department ya rona e rileng re tla go tlotlisana le lona ka sona ha re ka dira jalo re tla kgona go fitlhella mokgele wa kokwano eno ya rona e re tletseng fano gompieno ke tswetswe ke ka kopora le kopa gore re direng ka mokgwa o ntseng jalo ba gaetsho.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ikamalam Gum Tutuzeli Valela, Ward Councillor, Ward 13. Program Director, I don't want to waste the time. I just want to be spot on my submission. I support the following approach amended the Electoral Act. ANC support the PR system. The ANC has always supported the proposal representation system as it is the best to suit to a country as diverse as ours in terms of race, class, language. It ensures that every political party viewpoint to share by more than 1/4% of a population is able to find representation in a parliament and the speakers on behalf of the constituency. We have never supported a first past the post
constituency system, as it is very difficult to reach the same level of diverse representation when only one or maybe a handful of the people are elected to represent a distinct geographic area. Each geographic area has its own level of diversity and vision. The PR system has meant that even if a small party that can get as a little as 0.25% of the voters remain in a parliament and have the voice in every legislature, it is hard to imagine any other small party winning constituency seats when the constituencies, if there were 200, for parliament would have at least 100 voters. The PR system also allowed the better representation of a women, youth, and other marginalized group. The ANC support the portion 1 of a ministerial advisor committee as it is continued in the amended bill. We are broadly support as it the best option for implementing the constitutional court order. We do, however, we have some very serious concern about the practicality of some of the proposed current continue in the bill. We urge the Home Affairs Committee to consider this challenge carefully as they may cause unintended consequences that can harm our democracy. We wish to avoid further court to challenge by either independent or party that may feel disadvantaged. We also wish to maintain the principle in the Constitution that demanded from us that our electoral system reflect overall proportionality. We are very concerned that the new system can result in a very long ballot paper that impractically, for example, if we have 48 national parties, as in 2019, and other 200 individually who stand as independent, the ballot paper will need about 10 pages with 25 names per page. The multi-party ballot is a big problem for voters. The IEC and the party, it will need much longer time to vote. A voter must search for the name of their party or independent among many and other names. A 10-page booklet for the ballot will mean that the IEC need to have a much bigger budget for printing, distribution, and stuff. Even the ballot box will have to be 10 times as many to accommodate the ballot. The counters will have to check every page for every ballot to make sure that it is not spoiled by voter voting twice. The counting could also take 5 to 10 times along. We are very concerned that the amendment should find a way to not waste money and time to make election too complicated and impractical. And if the voter find it difficult to vote and find the preference choice on the ballot, the election will not reflect, will be of the people.
Councillor.
Unit.
Councillor, the 3 minutes has passed.
I'm finishing now. It's too late. The last.
Please kindly, let's wrap up.
Chair?
You can proceed, let's wrap up.
Okay. At the moment of the party paid 2,000 deposit for national and 45,000 per province. They win back their deposit, they win one seat. Committee should decide that if there's some threshold could apply for deposit for the independent seat, one seat, whether for party or independent. The similar independent was independent candidate. Should party do not have any seat for previous election, must able show that they have at least some support could potentially win a seat. We should have a very low limit of support of allowing serious parties independent to participate without encouraging the party and people to overcrowd the process. We support that unrepresented party, that independent candidate should be able to show of at least third of the vote need to win the seat and their previous election. This is only a way to keep the ballot paper to reasonable size. If the parliament decided that into many small fractions formally, the government is challenging, there is a big danger to use for the current formality seat of the party can come less than one seat worthy of the vote. The voters required to a quarter for one seat has often been between 40,000 and 60,000 per seat, depending.
Councillor, I'm going to stop you and I'm going to give you a process. Kindly make submissions to those who are recording on the table to finish off your submissions.
Okay, thank you very much. I will submit my submission. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker, interpreters will come through.
Goeiedag, voorzitter. Ek is Mtutuzeli Walela. Ek is 'n raadslid van wijk 13. Ek sal kortliks met my insaag deel. Ons ondersteun die verteenwoordiging van individuele kandidate sodat mense van verskillende rasse en klasse erken kan word en ook verteenwoordig word en die bevolking in hulle kiesafdelings verteenwoordig kan word. Die kiesafdelingsstelsel is nie vir ons na wens nie, want daar is baie verskillende geografiese gebiede met verskillende mense en van verskillende denominasies en organisasies wat dit verteenwoordig. Dit is vir 'n klein party baie moeilik om setels in die huis te kry en ons wil ook net verseker dat wanneer hierdie persone deel vorm van die kieslys, dat dit nie die kiesproses sal verleng en bemoeilik nie, omdat daar dan nou 'n baie lang stembrief opgestel moet word om al die onafhanklike kandidate te lys. Ons het in die 2019 verkiesing 48 partye op die stembrief gehad. As ons individuele kandidate of onafhanklike kandidate op die stembrief moet sit, kan die stembrief byna of die stemvorm byna 10 bladsye lank wees. Dit bemoeilik die proses vir die OVK wanneer dit kom by die tel van stemme om elke bladsy deur te gaan en te verseker dat daar net een stem per stembrief is en dat die stembrief nie bederf is met 2 of meer stemme nie. Die telproses kan ook met 5 tot 10 keer verleng word, so ook sal die personeel en die drukwerk en al die komponente wat daarmee saamgaan om die stemproses aan die gang te kry met 10 keer vergroot. Dit is in my opinie dalk iets wat onprakties. Dan het ons ook die kwessie van deposito's wat betaal moet word vir onafhanklike kandidate in nasionale en plaaslike verkiesings en dit kan ook iets wat problematies raak. Maar ons sal graag wil sien dat wanneer onafhanklike kandidate deel word van die stemproses, dat daar 'n makliker manier kan wees om te verseker dat die stemproses nie onnodig verleng en bemoeilik word met die hoeveelheid onafhanklike kandidate wat gelys word nie en ook dat te veel stemme gemors word omdat die onafhanklike kandidaate nie genoeg stemme bymekaar het om 'n setel in te wen nie, wat dan gaan lei tot baie kandidate wat nie genoeg stemme het om een enkele setel te kry nie. Baie dankie.
Lina la me ke Mthutuzeli ke mo councilora ebile ke tswa mo lekokong leo re le emetseng le legolo la rona la ANC. Ke ne ke batla go tlhalosa fano fa gore re itumela gore lekoko la rona le tshegetsa molao wa rona wa ditlhopho mo nageng eno ya rona. Ebile ke bogologolo tota ANC e ntse e dira jalo ga se la ntlha e dula e ntse e tshegetsa molaotlhomo ono. Ebile se se monate ke gore e dirile gore batho ba ditšhaba tsotlhe kgotsa batho ka kakaretso mo nageng yotlhe ya rona e nne gore mongwe le mongwe wa bone o na le baemedi mo thulaganyo eno. Ka sekai mo nageng ya rona re na le batho ba ditso tse di farologaneng, batho ba ditlhopha tse di farologaneng, ba dipuo tse di farologaneng, ka mantswe a mangwe botlhe ba na le baemedi ba e leng ba bona. Ke se e le gore se ile sa dirwa gore batho ba kgone go emelwa botlhe ka tsela e tshwanang, le ga ba ka nna batho ba palo e nyane le bone ba tla emelwa ka tsela ka botlalo. Mo dingwageng tse di fetileng go na le nako e ka yone TRC e kileng ya ntsha lentswe e le ka go emela batho, mme e ne e dira sentle go ya ka molao o neng o tlhomilwe. Ditshitshinyo tse dintsi tse re batlang go di tlhagisa ke gore mo thulaganyo eno ya rona ya ditlhopho go dirwe gore batho ba e leng basadi le bone ka bo bone ba mo nakong e fetileng ba ne ba kgapetswe kwa thoko, ba sa lejwe jaaka batho ba gongwe ba ka kgona go itlhagisa jaaka bao ba ka tsenelelang dikgaisano tsa ditlhopho le bone ba tshwanetse gore ba akanyediwe. Ka jalo rona ke se re se dirang, re tshegetsa thulaganyo e ntseng jalo, re tsenya molaotheo kgotsa motheo wa naga ya rona re o tsenya mo tirisong fela jaaka kgotlatshekelo e laetse. Lefapha la rona la Home Affairs le lona di la dira sentle go akanyetsa dilo tse e leng gore yaka ha ke bua they harm our democracy. So ile ya tlhokomela dilo tse dintseng yana gore di se tsa tlhole di dirwa mo thulaganyeng ya ditlhopho e le gore dilo tsotlhe di tsamae sentle ka tatelano. Ebile gape re batla go akantsha gore dipampiri tlhopho tsa rona, di ballot papers di nne dikgolo ka mo go lekaneng gore motho a se ka senya nako e ntsi a ntse a batlana le leina la motho yo a batlang go mo tlhopha a sa kgone go le bona. Re kopa gore di godisiwe gore di nne di tona ka tsela e lekaneng sentle, mmogo le di ballot box le tsone re letsa gore di nne dikgolo ka mo go lekaneng e le gore di tle di kgone go tsenya sentle dipampiri tsotlhe tse batho ba di dirisitseng tsa go tlhopha. Re itumela gore lekoko la rona le dirisitse nako e ntsi ka mo go lekaneng go rarabolola mathata ano otlhe a re nang le one. Ha seno se ka tswelela sa dirwa, thulaganyo yotlhe ya rona e tle go tswelela pele sentle mo mafelong a go dirwang ditlhopho mo gone. Batho ga bana ba kgotlhagana, dilo di tla phuthuloga sentle e le gore tle re kgone go fitlhelela mokgele wa rona wa molao wa rona wa ditlhopho.
Come through, Speaker.
Good morning. Everyone is greeted in the name of our Father. I'm Johannes Matthews, a youth rights analyzer, a program implementer at Life, a non-profit organization. Maar ek sal sommer tweetalig wees, maar ek verkies om Afrikaans te praat. Ek 'n lidmaat van Life stem saam met die wysigingswetontwerp op verkiesing. Van dit sal maak dat ons onafhanklike kandidaate deelneem in die nasionale verkiesing. Maar dan sal ek net een of twee verlange het op die wetontwerp dat sal die wetontwerp bydra het tot op kandidaate wat op plaaslike grond geen geld het om te hoe sê mense te contest in die plaaslike nasionale verkiesing. Kyk, ons het mos nie regtig geld nie. Maar hoe gaan die wetsontwerp plek maak vir ons om miskien borge te kry of om deel te neem? Ons is klaar deel, maar hoe sal ons kan miskien sponsorships kry vir die sorry. En een rede wat ek saamstem is dan dat dit ons sal kans gee om deel te neem in die nasionale verkiesing. Maar gaan dit ook vir ons minder voorberegde plaaslike kandidate wat geregistreer is op die IEC as politieke partye wat geen geld het nie. Hoe gaan die wetsontwerp vir ons plek maak? Maar teen alle tye stem ek saam. Baie dankie. Baie dankie.
Good morning. My name is Johannes Matthews, and I would like to say that I agree with the bill. I agree with the fact that we can stand as independent candidates for elections. But what I just want to know is how will this bill and the parliament be able to contribute to us financially, to also be able to participate on a national level. We are very thankful for the opportunity to participate in the running to be an independent candidate, but again, how will it impact us and how will our rights be assisted for candidates who have no funding, even though they are part of the IEC? How will the parliament make space for us in that regard? Thank you.
Leina la me ke Johannes Matthew, re itumella thulaganyo eno ya ditlhopho mme fela ne ke na le dipotso di le mmalwa tse e leng gore mo go tsone ne re batla go botsa dipotso tsa gore sentlentle mo kganyeng ya batho ba e leng gore ke bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka nosi kgotsa le mo go rona jaaka batho ba ba botlana re tla re palamente sentlentle yone e tlile go tsenya letsogo jang mo go re thuseng ha re tla mo dikganyeng tse di tshwanang le go ithuta re ka kgona go dira jang gore re atlege le gore re kgone go tshegetsa ka botlalo thulaganyo eno e leng ya ditlhopho tse di tseneletseng ka gonne e ama dikarolo tse di farologaneng tsa matshelo a rona le leng rona jaaka ha re le banyane jana palamente e dira jang e re thusa jang e lebile pele go ka tsenya letsogo mo go direng gore thulaganyo eno yotlhe e atlege ka mokgwa o ntseng jang e ntse a akaretsa le rona batho ba re leng ba botlana ke a leboga.
Thank you, Johannes, for the submission. Remember, we have made an indication that we will not be taking any clarity-seeking question, but we are here to listen to your submissions on how the Electoral Amendment Bill should consist of or how it should be made of. We are not here to take clarities or to answer any questions that you would seek from us. The panel seated here, it's members of parliament that are here to listen to you on what would be your views regarding the electoral bill.
Baie dankie vir u voorlegging, Johannes. Ek wil net weer aan u dit voorhou dat ons nie is om enige duidelikheid aan vrae te gee of vrae te beantwoord nie. Ons as paneellede hier vandag is van die parlement, ja, maar ons is slegs hier om te luister na julle insae en om te luister wat u byvoegings is volgens die wysigingswetsontwerp.
Re tlile fano go tla go reetsa ditshitshinyo tsa lona e seng go buisana le lona jaaka re le panele re le fano re tlile go reetsa le go ela tlhoko gore la reng.
Thank you. Is there any other speakers that would make submissions? Remember, we've taken the first round, we're now in the second round. Could you have hands that would want to make submissions? I note you at the back. You can proceed, sorry.
Baie dankie. Ons is nou klaar met die eerste ronde. Is daar enige hande vir die tweede ronde? Ander persone wat ook voorleggings of wil insae wil dien?
Na le ba bang ba batlang go bua ke a bona go na le mongwe o tsholoditse letsogo go morago kwa tsholetsa mmabogo fa ba tlo bua.
Can we have those hands? I noted The first one at the back, Sisi with a black top. The second hand will be you with a blue t-shirt at the back. Kindly come and occupy the rows in the middle. Councillor, you'll be the third one. You'll be the fourth one. Any other hands? At the back, you can come through with a black hat. You'll be the fifth speaker. Mama with a purple dress, you are the sixth speaker. I have noted that there are people who are outside who would want to gain entry to come in and make submissions or speak. Can we have those that want to speak from outside to be allowed to come through so that they occupy the middle seat? Security outside, kindly assist us with that process. Those who want to speak outside to come through and occupy the middle seat, and after the submissions, they can then go outside. This is on the basis that people are not allowed in because of the capacity of the hall is full, bearing in mind the COVID-19 regulations and restrictions.
Baie dankie vir die hande. Dame in die swart daarachter is welkom om te kom as spreker nommer 1. Persoon met die blou, dan het ons ook 'n raadslid volgende, moeder met die persrok, u kan ook na vore dan kom. Ons wil ook net vra die persone wat buite is, wat graag ook insawe lewer, dat hulle in laat kom word asseblief. Ons verstaan dat ons saal dus vol is en dat ons kapasiteit bereik het en dat ons vol is en aan die COVID-19 reëls moet nakom. So dus gaan ons vra as persone klaaspreek beurt gekry het, is hulle welkom om weer die saal te verlaat.
Ke a leboga, ke a bona re na le dibui tse dinne, ne re kopa hore borra ba security ba bitse batho ba ba leng kwa ntle ba ba batlang go tla ka kwano ba tle ba bue.
I've been made aware that there are no speakers outside. Those who are outside, they would not want to make submissions. Therefore, we proceed with the second round, ending with the lady at the back with the purple dress. The first speaker, you can come up front and make your submissions. Bear in mind, when you speak, you would indicate who you are, where you are from, and whether you are in support or no, do not support the bill, and therefore you make your submissions. I thought I reiterate that. Thank you.
Kyk, ek is bewus gemaak dat die persone wat buite is nie insawe lewer nie, so dus gaan ons voortgaan met die persone binne die saal en ons gaan dan die tweede ronde afsluit met die dame in die pers daarachter. Dan wil ek ook net vra elke persoon wat na vore kom en om hul insaag te lewer, onthou om asseblief te sê wie u is, waar u vandaan kom of u die wysigings aanvaar al dan nie en onthou ook om net weer eens al daardie informasie vir ons deur te gee. Dankie.
Re lemogile gore batho ba ba leng kwa ntle ga ba batle go tla ka kwano mme ba ba leng fano go bontsha le bona ba batla buang. Re tla feletsa ka mmeola ya leng kwa morago ya pereng sengwe se se hibitswana mme le ka tla la simolla bua fa o bua o bue leina la gago gore o tswa kae o itlhalose sentle.
Next speaker, you can come to the podium.
Thank you, Kaleboha, Parliament, Baki Kuruman, O Buanke Malbohodisa, PR Councillor from Haskonyana Organization, South African Royal Kingdom Organization. Nake concern ka issue ya di election, especially ga go tloa mo issue ya gore ka nako ya di election go ntshiwa date ya gore di election ke date e feng, and then for the special and then date ya di special vote yona ga ke itumelo go tlhelele le tsamaiso e go tsamaisiwang ka yona. Reason why ke bua yana gantsi re iphitlhela re kry-a gore letsatsi le go votiwang for the special vote ka lone re kry-a go setse go le lata and the registration tsa teng le tsone di setse di fetile. only ruling party ke yone itlhele kare e aware gore di special vote ya gona ka date e feng ke gore e kare e tlhagelela bogwedi before the election or 3 weeks before the election and le tsamaiso ya teng gore ke re ga re itumeletse ka lebakeng la gore le di home visit le di station votes ke tsa le di special voters o iphitlhela batho ba ba votileng ko di home visit ba ba gape ba go vota ko selong and ha re na le bothata ba gore re reporta dilo tse mo di presiding officer ena e kare di party agent or the organization di dira mathata kgatlhanong le di proceedings tsa di election and sa bobedi ke gore di dispute tse di re di tsenyang ko di IEC ga se gantsi re iphitlhela re di arabetse go ya ka mokgwa re di tsentseng ka teng cause re newa date e rileng ya gore tsenye di dispute but at the end of the day di dispute tsa rona ga re itse gore di hella ko kae and ga di re favor nka dira example not only gore di re favor mare re tlhoka go kry-a clarity on that matters mo issue ya di election tsa ko tse re tswa mo go tsone tsa 2021 ko dithakong re iphitlhetse e le gore go nnile le di station tse e leng gore ga go accountiwa totally we've reported the matter ko IEC go nnile le gore mapolisi ba bidiwe ba tla go lwantsha di public mo and selo se ke selo se e leng gore se le botlhokwa ka di party agent organization di sa itumella go tlhelele gore go palwa ke go countiwa at the end of the day ko ntle ga voting station go kry di ballot box tse dingwe di na le di ballot papers so issue ya IEC le issue ya gore di special vote go na le mo e leng gore really re tlhoka gore go boe gape go tlhophiwe batho ba bang kgotsa go electiwe ka tsela e siame batho ba ba berekang IEC ka lebakela gore IEC mo Kuruman ke se itse go di region tse di province tse dingwe really what they are doing is not right for our communities in Kuruman selo sa bobedi ke seng rona mo Kuruman ka issue ya di election yana re iphitlhela e le gore ha go na le nako e leng gore go tlo go bolella batho ka dilo tse tsa bo di public hearing public participation re kry-a di melaetsa nako e setse le nyana gompieno yana go na le batho ba ba ntse ba e leng gore ke gone ba notisang ka taba e ntseng yana mostly le ba di independent ga ba itse ke nagana gore le nna ha e itse gore ke councilor ko ga segonyana ne ke sa itse le gore gompieno yana go diragala eng batho ba bangwe especially ko jo morolong ko magaeng ga ba itlhele information ya dilo tse dintseng yana that is why mo go rona mo Kuruman dilo tse dintsi re sa di itlheleleng re direlwa hela re le baagi ke a leboga
My name is Malebu Disang. I am from Khasekonyan. I have a concern about elections, especially the special votes. They are not taken care of properly and they often happen very late. And their procedure of running this vote is below par, is very questionable. You will find that party agents do as they wish, and whenever we report some of these things, they don't take us into consideration. The other issue that I am concerned about is the IEC list. We want to have clarity from the bill on how the list is sent to the IEC. For instance, in the 2021 election in the Thakong, the ballots were not counted properly, and we reported the matter to SAPS, but it was never attended to. Therefore, I would like to urge the IEC to be professional, because even people who are here, some of them didn't know that there is such a public hearing. We people from the rural areas, we do not have access to information about what is happening in our communities. Therefore, we always like to be kept posted about everything that is happening in our communities. Thanks.
Goeiedag, my naam is Mulama Lebogeng, die sang. En ek het 'n paar punte wat ek wil uitwys oor die oor die verkiesings en oor die stemme en hoe die prosedure in die stemming werk. Daar is van die prosedures wat ek wel bevraagteken. Dit kom vir my voor dat partye soms net doen wat hulle wil en ons vra ook graag dat die OVK asseblief duidelikheid moet gee oor hoe hulle die prosedures hardloop. Daar stembriewe wat nie reg getel is nie en daar's ander gevalle wat ook plaasgevind het. Ons wil net aan die OVK verrig om asseblief meer professioneel te wees en om ook asseblief aan ons meer inligting te gee vooraf oor enige publieke verhore wat plaasvind, want dit kom vir ons voor dat ons as gemeenskap nie altyd toegang tot informasie het nie en dit is dus iets wat ons baie graag aanvraag. Dankie.
Thank you for the submission. However, this submission relates to the IEC process, and we're not here to deal with IEC processes. So therefore, we're not at liberty to respond to such questions. We are here to take submissions regarding the Electoral Amendment Bill, which has been granted through courts. So other things outside that, we cannot speak on. We've made an emphasis when we started. We are not here to answer any questions that you seek from us. We are here to listen to you make submissions. I hope I don't know how to put it in Setswana or Sesotho, but ngesiZulu, I hope siyazwakala ukuthi outside that jurisdictions we cannot commit ourselves to respond on or to give clarity on.
Ke solofela fa lo utlwile gore bontsi jwa tshitshinyo e bone bo lebisitswe kwa go IEC. Rona re le komiti ga re a tlala IEC kana go arabela IEC. Re tlile go itse fela ka ga tshitshinyo ya gago mo molaong o mamatleletsweng o montšha o wa ditlhopho. Ke solofela fa le nkutlwa ga ke itse re ka Setswana la reng rona fela ka seZulu ra re solofela le re utlwile.
Baie dankie vir die voorlegging. Daar is wel genoem van die OVK en hulle prosesse, maar weer eens, ons mag ongelukkig nie terugvoer daaromtrent gee nie. Ons het deurlopend probeer aan julle verduidelik dat ons ongelukkig nie vrae rakende hierdie prosesse mag beantwoord nie. Ons mag ongelukkig nie daardie grense oorskry nie. So enige terugvoering rondom die OVK ensovoorts mag ons ongelukkig nie antwoorde op gee nie. So ons vra asseblief dus weer dat julle asseblief u voorleggings beperk binne die wetsontwerp asseblief. Dankie.
Can we proceed to the next speaker, please? Kindly sanitize Sisi after he has adjusted the mic. Kindly sanitize it first.
Dumelang bagolo. Ke nna ka Mogelo Tshwenyane go tswa ko Gasese. Sa ntlha ke lebogele matsapa a puso a tseileng le go lebogela gore palamente ila lemoga ha mpuru a haretswe ka go atlhola ka gore molao mengwe tshwantse ba ka nngwe mo molao ka kangwe kgotsa mo molao memetlelelo o gone hao yaanong rona re le go tswa ko motseng wa Gasese ra amogela ebile re mo moraga gore re supporte kgotsa re tshegetse molao tlhomo o wa gore ba dipati tse le gore kgotsa batho ba ba ikemetseng ba kgone go tsaya karolo go province le ko national. Ke a leboga.
Hello, my name is Kamokhelo Chonyane. I am from Gasese. We really appreciate the government and the parliamentary effort to come here and get our views regarding the amended bill. We as the villagers from Gasese, we truly support this bill.
Baie dankie voorsitter. My naam is Kamokhelo Chonyane. Ek is van Gasese. Ek wil net baie dankie sê dat julle hier is om ons insaai en opinies te hoor en te luister na wat ons te sê het, en ons as die gemeenskap of die mense wat in die woonbuurt van Gasese woon, ondersteun hierdie wetsontwerp.
Next speaker, thank you for the submission.
Good morning, I'm Councillor Eilert from the District Municipality, John Taule Gaitsewe. When it comes to submit this amendment, I think then government first have to go and look where the government itself is ready. Because if you go into international elections, those elections takes maybe 3 to 4 days. And for us as South Africans nowadays, our elections is only 1 day. And if we say this amendment must go through, then it means at the end of the day, ma'am, you have maybe 30 independent candidates on the list. So how long will this election now take then? And then is there enough support for those independent candidates? Because they have to submit also a fee to register when they want to take part in the election. And then I see also that there's a clause that states that the government must then also give the fee back. Say, for instance, the independent does not make it a seat in government. Does it also now apply for other political parties or only for the independent candidates? Then also what I like to say, ma'am, is that I heard that you say that we can't say anything about the IEC, but will they really be ready? Because in the past election, 2021, both government and the IEC were not really ready for the election because they used COVID as the excuse why things will be delayed. So for me, it's actually a problem when it comes to the fact that we want to put this amendment in place. Not say that we have a problem with independent candidates, but are the government really ready for this? Thank you.
Goeiedag. Ek wil net graag my voorlegging ook doen. Ek wil eerstens vra met die wysiging wat ons op wil stel. Ek wil vra, is ons gereed vir dit? Want ek het al agtergekom met internasionale verkiesings dat hulle hierdie tipe verkiesings binne 'n paar dae klaar kan doen en klaar kan kry. Maar wat ek wil vra is, hoe lank gaan dit vir ons as 'n Suid-Afrikaanse regering vat om hierdie proses goed uit te kan voer? Ek het ook verneem in die dokument dat daar 'n deposito betaal moet word om deel te neem as 'n onafhanklike kandidaat. En daar's ook 'n klousule wat wys dat die bedrag terug sal betaal word aan 'n kandidaat wat dit nie maak om voorgestem te kan word nie. So ek wil dan ook weet, is dit dieselfde vir politieke partye ook? Ja, daar is gestel dat ons nie oor die OVK moet praat nie, maar as ek terugkyk na die 2021 se verkiesings, wil ek weer eens aan ons die vraag stel, is ons gereed vir so 'n proses om plaas te vind en om in plek gestel te word? Ons het gesien in 2021 was dit die regering en die OVK wat nie gereed was vir die stemming nie. En hulle het dus dan 2021 se COVID-19 periode as 'n verskoning gebruik. So nee, ons het nie 'n probleem met die wetsontwerp nie, maar weer eens wil ek die vraag stel, is ons regering en ons OVK gereed vir so 'n proses om in plek gestel te word? Dankie.
Hello, my name is Eilert. I'm just here to question whether the government is ready, and as well as the IEC, to hold elections, because they normally hold these elections within 3 to 4 days.
You are supposed to interpret in Setswana because of he spoke in English.
Ke a leboga. Ke a leboga madume, leina la ka ke Eilert. Ke tlile go botsa gore a puso e eme sejaro go ka diragatsa ditlhopho tseno, ka gonne go le gantsi ba re neelana ka matsatsi a le mararo go ya go amane mo bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng bao ba ka nnang gongwe palo ya bo 30. And gape ke batla le go botsa gore a bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ba tla neelwa tshegetso ya matlole ya madi na, mme gape le fa ba ka retelelwa ke go diragatsa, a ba ka kgona go tsenela makoko a mang ba diragatsa le one. Kgangkgolo ke gore IEC le puso ga di ya ema sejaro go diragatsa ditlhopho, mme mo ngwageng o fetileng ba dirisitse bolwetse jwa COVID jaaka maipato, mme ka go rialo ka re IEC le puso di tshwanetse go ema sejaro go diragatsa go thusa gore bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ba tsenele ditlhopho. Ke a leboga.
Thank you for the submission. Next speaker.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, I want to say I support the amendment of the bill. And I would like to say this is a sense of democratic, not democratic, but this is a sense of revolutionary change that is about to happen. The amendment of the bill clearly shows me now that the state is taking us into consideration, because now they allow our independent candidates to take part on national level. And not to talk about the IEC, but regarding the IEC, it is clear that they cannot provide us with the necessary voting, I don't know how to state it, but they don't know how to give us a fair elections in which on both 3 spheres, they are incompetent. So I think with this amendment of this bill, this will now allow the people from their voice of vote to stand behind their candidates on a national level. So it is a crucial decision, but it is also in favor of the people that are voting. So lastly, I want to say I do support the amendment, and I'm looking forward to see it happen in my lifetime. Thank you.
Goeiedag, my naam is Obakeng Olyn en ek wil net eerstens dankie sê vir die geleentheid. Ek ondersteun die wysiging en die wysigingswetsontwerp en ek voel dat dit wel 'n positiewe verandering in ons land bring. Dit is baie aangenaam om te sien dat ons as gemeenskap in ag geneem word en dat ons dus ook kan deelneem in die verkiesings. Die OVK moet ons weer eens wel nie te veel oor sê nie, maar dit is duidelik dat hulle nie genoeg in plek het om ons die geleentheid te gee om 'n regverdige stembeurt te hê nie. Weereens, ek ondersteun die wysigingswetsontwerp en ek wil weer eens uitlig dat dit ons as 'n gemeenskap 'n geleentheid gee om agter ons kandidaat te kan staan en te ondersteun en dat dit dus 'n positiewe impak op nie net ons as die gemeenskap sal hê nie, maar ook die kandidaat wat staan vir die verkiesing. Ek sien regtig daarna uit om in my leeftyd iets soos hierdie te ondervind. Dankie.
Dumelang, leina la me ke Obakeng. Ke tlile fano go tla go tshegetsa mametlelelo e ya molao go bontsha e le nngwe ya diphetogo tse di tona tseo re di solofelang go tswe mo ba ditlhopho mokgatlo wa IEC ga wa sekama sentle fa o ka lebelela maphata a mararo a puso a bosetšhaba a province le a selegae dilo ga di diragantswe ka tsela e e siameng ka go rialo ka re mametlelelo e botlhokwa ebile ke a e tshegetsa.
Thank you for the submission. The next speaker, can you come to the fore? I could tell from a number of previous speakers that IEC is a burning matter around the area. It's unfortunate that we do not represent IEC or we do not come from IEC offices to be able to respond to clarities or the grievances that we are raising in relations to that.
Ek kan opmerk van die vorige persone wat gepraat het dat die kwessies rondom die OVK brandende kwessies is en dit is eintlik 'n jammerte dat ons nie van die OVK is om enige duidelikheidsvrae te kon beantwoord nie en ook dat ons nie regtig enige van hierdie griewe kan regstel nie. Dit is vir ons 'n regtige jammerte dat daar soveel ongelukkigheid is teenoor die OVK.
Ke a lemoga gore go tswa mo bontsing jwa batho ba ba kokwaneng ka kwano kgangkgolo ntlha e phisegelo ke mabapi le IEC mme rona re le komiti ya palamente re ka se kgone go samagana le kgang eno ke kgang ya IEC jaaka ke tlhalositse kwa ntlheng gore rona re tlile go tseya fela ditshitshinyo tsa lona. Ke a leboga.
Councillor, you can come through.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Charles Phillips. I think there's a correction. The ward councillor of Ward 15 said he's the ward councillor of Ward 13, but I'm still the ward councillor of Ward 13. Allow me to also just give an input on the amendment bill. As previous speakers were saying that are we ready? I will just make some touch-ups. If Parliament is divided in many small fractions, forming government is challenging. It's going to be challenging. There is a big danger to using the current formula for seats, and a lot of parties come in on less than one seat's worth of votes. Votes required for a quota for one seat has often been between 40,000 and 60,000 per seat, depending on the legislature and voting turnout. But some small parties have won seats on 10,000 votes in the National Assembly due to the formula for the larger remainder votes being used to allocate leftover seats. Potentially, we can have many small parties and independents occupying key seats that hold a balance of power in a legislature or parliament where no parties or where no party get over 50%. This is happening at municipality level and often leads to unstable and temporary collision. This could be much worse at national and provincial government, where government could be paralyzed, or small parties and independents who represent only tiny fraction of voters, but who can stable government impossible. We propose a two-stage process where all who met the full quota of one seat be awarded a seat, whether as party or independent. Once no one is left who is entitled to have a seat based on meeting and full quota threshold, the remaining seats should then be given to the party who have the highest average of voters per seat won. An independent can obviously only occupy one seat in the surplus votes will be discarded. Any party that has surplus votes should have this added to the total and divided by the number of the seats already won by them. The party with the highest average will get the remaining seats. This is the only way proportionality can be maintained, and we can prevent a situation like we have currently, where many parties with less than 0.25% support still occupy seats. Most other countries with PR system have a much higher threshold than 3 to 7% of the vote before any seats are awarded. This is done to maintain stable government. It is difficult to negotiate across dozens of fractions and totally accept in international practice to require significant support to public representatives. So my submission will be not in support with the bill. Thank you.
Baie dankie, voorsitter. Ek is ongelukkig nou nie in samestemming met wat die vorige raadslid genoem het nie. En dan ook die vraag wat gevra is deur die ander sprekers is ons gereed vir hierdie tipe stelsel? Die parlement is verdeel in baie afdelings en dit is ook besig om te verander. Daar is stemme wat nodig is om 'n setel te kry en hoe dit werk is dat ons miskien voorstel dat 'n formule in plek gestel word om sekere hoeveelheid stemme vir setels toe te laat. Dan is daar ook weer baie klein onafhanklike kandidate wat gaan sit met setels en nie 'n enkele party met 'n 50% meerderheid nie. Dit kan moontlik lei tot onstabiliteit en dat die bestuur van die parlement of die nasionale regering of plaaslike regering onstabiel kan wees en dit kan natuurlik ook nou 'n negatiewe invloed hê. En om 'n regering te stabiliseer is feitelik onmoontlik, maar as dit voortgaan, gaan dit beslis gebeur dat daar onstabiliteit plaasvind. Dan daar is moontlik dat 'n setel toegeken word volgens 'n sekere aantal stemme, maar dat die oorblywende of die oorskotstemme wegval of dat stemme bymekaar getel word en verdeel sal word om setels toe te ken. Baie partye sit met baie min stemme, maar het wel setels, waar ander partye baie stemme het, maar nie genoeg setels kry nie weens hoe die formule werk. Dit is dan nou hiermee dat ek sê ons die parlement of die regering sal moet stabiliseer en dat hierdie wetsontwerp nie daartoe sal lei nie en daarom kan ek dit nie ondersteun nie.
Dumelang, leina la me ke Charles Philippi, ke mokhanselara wa mo gae mo. Jaaka ke ne ke reditse dibui tse di fitileng go itshupa gore IEC ga ya ema sejaro ga e mo maemong a siameng a go ka diragatsa molaotlhomo ono, ka gonne gape le fa ke lebile thulaganyo ya palamente ga e mo letlhakoreng la makoko a le mannye tebang le go aroganya power. O fitlhela e le gore diperesente di le 50 bogolosegolo mo dimmasepaleng fa di sa fitlhelesege, puso ga e kgone go tswela pele go tsoga tlhakatlhakano. Ka jalo sekao fa re ka re ntlhopheng yo ikemetseng a le mongwe a fitlhele setilo se le sengwe, go raya gore lekoko le le nang le dipalo tse dintsi le tla fitlhela ditilo tse dintsintsi thata, mme seo se bontsha gore go aroganya ga ditulo mo parlamenteng go tla nna boimanyana. bontsi jwa dinaga tse dintsi bo leka go direlagatsa thulaganyo e ya bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng fela ba kgarakgatsega ga ba kgone go fitlhelela puso e e tsitsibetseng. Ka go rialo tshitshinyo tsa me tse ke di dirang mono ga di tshegetse molao tlhomo o. Ke a leboga.
Thank you for the submission. The next speaker, kindly come through. This will be the last speaker on our second round.
Good day. I would like to thank you for the opportunity. My name is Feroza van Wyk. I am the provincial chairperson of Active African Christians United Movement. And first of all, I am from the Northern Cape, the JTG district. And I would like to state that we are in support of the amendment bill. In essence, this is a direction, it's a sign of maturity in our democracy, in which Parliament is no longer a house for elites only. Access to Parliament sittings is more of an important element to public representation and accountability as well. Section 59 of the Constitution gives the public right to enjoy public institutions' decision-making process participating. And we will be wrong if we do not open the house of the people to the people. We must see public as an independent observer or I can say it as watchdogs over this democracy. In essence, the public will have rights of recourse to in-house so-called secret discussions. At large, debates in Parliament will be won by promulgation than partisan favors. How it will impact on party deployment policies. We can argue then when public pressure process, it's to the favor. I would like to also lift this concern that as the Northern Cape is 372 kilometer per square meter, 1,000 kilometers square meter big. And we are speaking in our local region of households of 61,000. And if I am looking at the representatives of our community, of our people, and again of our province, this raises a concern. Specifically speaking regarding the issues at hand. I know that you are here to discuss the amendment bill today. However, I would clearly like to state that there are much bigger issues in our province at hand. As much as we are in support of the Electoral Amendment Bill, there are clearly bigger issues that need to be dealt with here in our province. I thank you.
Dumelang. Leina la me ke Ronsa van Wyk. Ke tswa kwa mokgatlhong wa Action United. Mme ke tlile fana go tla go tshegetsa molaotlhomo o. Molaotlhomo o bontsha gore democracy ya rona e nna ntse e gola, e nna ntse e utlwalega. Ebile go bontsha gape gore palamente ha se tulo ya fela ya batho ba ba rileng, ke tulo ya batho ba botlhe. Karolo ya bo 59 e bua ka botsaya karolo jwa batho. Mme seno ka go kokwana fano go bontsha gore re tsaya karolo re le batho. Ke rona ba lebeledi le batlhokomedi ba go lebella gore palamente e diragala tsa ditiro tsa yone jang. Ka gonne fa o ka lebella di-policy tsa barongwa kwa parlamenteng, go le gantsi ga di a tsepama, di direla ba bang mme di kgetolola ba bang. Sekao fa o ka lebella fano mo gae mo o fitlhela o na le malapa a ka nnang 61,000 mme o fitlheletse nomoro ya 370. Go a ketefala gore o ka kgona go ba etelela pele. mme ka go rialo ke re molaotlhomo o re buang ka ona ka jeno mametlelelo eno ke ya e tshegetsa ke a leboga.
Goeiedag voorsitter, my naam is Verosa van Wyk. Ek is van die AACM en ek wil graag sê dat ons hierdie wetsontwerp of voorgestelde wysigingswetsontwerp ondersteun. Dit is vir ons 'n indikasie van 'n volwasse demokrasie, dat daar wel nou geleentheid gemaak word vir openbare verteenwoordiging en dat die publiek deelgemaak kan word van die besluitmaakproses. Dit sal nie reg wees as ons nie die huis van die mense oopmaak aan die mense nie. Dan maak dit ook die geleentheid daar vir mense van die publiek om deel te wees van wat in huisbesprekings plaasvind en dat die publiek kan dien as 'n waghond en mense die regeringsstelsels aanspreeklik kan hou. Die Noord-Kaap is 'n ontsettende groot provinsie en ten spyte die feit dat ons wel hierdie wetsontwerp ondersteun, is daar baie groter kwessies wat eintlik aandag kort. So ek wil dit net baie duidelik stel dat ons is in ondersteuning van hierdie wetsontwerp, hoewel daar eintlik baie groter probleme en kwessies is wat aandag moet geniet. Dankie.
Thank you for the submission. Is there anyone that would like to speak? You can come through, I've noted your hand. You can come through at the back with the white cap, will be the second speaker. I'm noting the last round of hands, therefore we close the session after them.
Dames en here, ons maak nou die vloer oop vir die laaste ronde vir indienings. Daarna sal ons die vergadering afsluit. So as jy 'n geleentheid wil hê, steek asseblief u hand op, ons sal u erken.
Bagaetsho ha gona le ba bang gape ba ba batlang go bua eno e tlile go nna karolo ya rona ya bofelo. Re tla kopa gore lo itlhagise mme lo tle ka kwane re kgone go lo fa tshono.
Outside these two speakers, is there anyone that will want to make a submission? Bearing in mind that we are only making submissions with regards to the Electoral Amendment Bill, whether you are in support of it or not in support of it. Any other matters or any business, kindly liaise with councillors who are especially present here if it has to do with service delivery issues.
Daar is nog 2 sprekers buite wat 'n gespreekbeurt wil hê. As daar nog iemand is wat 'n geleentheid wil hê, ons kan dit nog moontlik maak. Let asseblief wel dat hierdie spreekbeurte geskik is om insaag te lewer rakende die verkiesingswysigingswetsontwerp. Enige ander kommernisse of kwessies wat u wil opper, is u welkom om te opper met die raadslede wat veral vandag hier teenwoordig is. Ons wil graag u insette en insaag hê rakende die verkiesingswysigingswetsontwerp asseblief.
Ka jalo re batla gore le gopoleng gape gore ga re arabe dipotso dipe ha le na le mathata mangwe a re tseng gore gongwe a amana le ditirelo di-service deliveries re kopa gore le buisane le bakhanselara ba lona rona ga re arabe dipotso dipe se re se dirang fela fano fa re batla go utlwa maikutlo a lona le go itse gore a molaotlhomo ono o re buang ka one lwa o tshegetsa le dumalana le one kgotsa ga lo tshegetse ga le dumalane le one.
Let me reiterate again for the speakers that will be speaking. You would indicate your name and where you are coming from, and you would also make mention that you either support or no, do not support the bill. Therefore, then make your submissions. The first speaker, you can come to the podium.
Ka jalo e re ke gatelleng gape ka tswetswe gore ha o tla go bua gopola gore re batla gore o ikitsise gore kwena mang le gore o tswa kae o bo tlhalosa gore a molaotlhomo ono o wa o tshegetsa kgotsa ga o tshegetse o bo ka simolla go dira ditshwaelo tsa gago.
Dames en here, ons wil net vir u vra as jy 'n spreekbeurt kry, noem asseblief u naam, u van waar u vandaan kom en of u die wetsontwerp ondersteun of nie. Baie dankie.
Ke na Richard Kilelo go tswa ko Kanana.
ke molaotheo mo ke a o tshegetsa wa gaetsho ke a o tshegetsa dibui tse di buileng di buile ga nka ka re tshwara se se buile se nnang ka tlang ka sone hela ke gore ke o tshegetsa gore le ko ha re le go ditlhophong re na le mathatanyana a di-partigent le botsamaisi jwa IEC goreng go na dibalotse tse di senyegang tse e leng gore ha batho ba bangwe ba ko di-boxeng ba sa itse go tshwaya moofisara wa lesi kwa di-partigent di a sala mo ka ba itse go bontshanya moa gore batho ba ba kgone go tshwaya dibalotse tseo sentle jaanong di-partigent di sala ko morago tsa maofisara a lesi ke nke re ba baakanye moa gore kgone gore re tsaya karolo e le kanang rotlhe ke a leboga.
My name is Richard Kelelo. Thank you very much, Chair. I just wanted to make sure, or to make my submission to say that we do support the Electoral Amendment Bill here today. I'm from an area called Ditago. Most of the things that I wanted to say have already been said by the previous speaker, so I'm just going to make some few touch-ups, just basically one point. The area that I'm coming from is called Ditagong. We have some few problems there with political parties and the IEC. What is happening is there is too many of the spoiled ballot papers. They are never been marked well all the time. Sometimes this happens and then you see councillors meeting together to try to sort out the problem and to say what needs to be done, but they cannot solve this problem. So my only appeal is my plea is to appeal to this fact to be addressed, please, Chair. So that is my submission.
Thank you for the submission. I think councillors that are present here, if you have a regional office of the IEC, kindly take note of grievances that have been raised, specifically coming from the IEC, and take it to an area manager that is responsible for IEC, so that these occurrences do not happen again. In the next coming elections, we are well prepared, especially in an area of IEC is concerned. The next speaker, you'd come through. Ordinarily, we were not supposed to allow you to speak again as you have made your submission before, but I will allow you to proceed with that regard. Thank you.
Thank you very
Jammer, meneer.
Madam Chair.
Sorry. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Richard Kilelo. Goeiedag, dames en heren. Mijn naam is Richard Kilelo en ek is van die distrik Kanana. Ek wil eerstens dankie sê vir die geleentheid, maar dan ook net seker maak en sê dat ons wel hierdie wetsontwerp ondersteun. Ek is van die Dikato area en soos reeds genoem deur vele ander is daar probleme met die OVK en die stem geleenthede wat gegee word. Ek wil noem dat daar eerstens te veel stembriewe is wat verlore gaan. Daar is soms stemme wat nie reg gemerk is nie en dan ook vele ander probleme wat opduik wanneer dit kom met by die stemprosesse. So dit is net een van die punte wat ek graag na vore wil bring. Ons voorsitter het net genoem dat hier wel 'n raadslid van die OVK teenwoordig is wat graag notas moet neem asseblief oor die probleme in die area van die OVK en stemprosesse sodat daar verantwoordelikheid geneem kan word vir hierdie probleme om nie weer plaas te vind nie. Ons volgende spreker is nou meneer se tweede geleentheid. Ons laat dit nie gewoonlik toe nie, maar in hierdie geval gaan ons u wel die spreekbeurt geleentheid gee.
Yeah, you can come through and speak.
Oh, thank you very much. Chair, I've spoken for this first round, but ntlha e mpusetsang mo maikeng ke di-remark tse di diriwang ke lona batho ba lo tsamaisang this bill gore ga lo atlela IEC, but mostly ha lo reditse di-input ga re kgatlhanong le bill. In principle, ra e amogela. but re concern ya rona ke IEC because ke yone e implementang one molao o ra go dirang. Now, there is no use go senya nako ya rona, but re sena a machinery e competent enough and e honest, e fair. Now, my proposal ke gore the input tsa rona ka IEC, they should not be ruled out. Either lo go formulate gape bile e nngwe lo go bua le parliament le di portfolio committee tse di relevant ba formulate another bill e buang specifically ka restructuring ya IEC because rona ka mokgwa re boneng ka teng, especially from 1999 IEC ke extension branch ya ANC. They make everything possible for ANC to win, hook or by crook. Ha ne le gore ba honest enough, go ka bo go sa diragala gore go nne le amendment bill e ka dilo tse di diragetseng in front of their eyes ko Potchefstroom le Botlekstop. Therefore, ra lo skola latla dilo tse re di buang ha. They are quite important. So re batla gore this IEC is independent. Re tla go dira molao gore if ba violate molao ba se honest, punishment ya bone ke we cannot hold batho ba ba seng honest ba le incompetent ba le corrupt. We can't. Molao ra o dira, but ha re sena batho ba ba honest, it's useless. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm coming back here in the second round. The reason why I returned here is because of the remarks that have been made by you yourselves as members of the Parliament. The problem here is that most of our concerns are related to the IEC. We are not against the bill. Totally we are not. We do support the bill, but we've got too many concerns that are related to the IEC because they are the ones who actually implement the law. So now when we make some references to the IEC and then we are now being told that we mustn't actually be speaking about it or you are not here to represent IEC or anything that has got to related to it, we find this to be just a waste of time because our proposals here are definitely about the IEC and then we are here because of it anyway. So we actually are requesting that you do not rule out our comments that are related to it. Maybe if that is a problem, my suggestion will be that you go back and formulate another bill about the restructuring of the IEC. Maybe that's the only way we should now go. And because one thing that we do know and that we are quite aware of is that the IEC actually itself is an extension and a branch of the ANC. They are the ones who actually made the ANC to win. So now if we were to be very honest really, we wouldn't actually be sitting here discussing this bill. It doesn't look like it was actually all the more necessary for us to be handling this bill. So we are asking you and appealing you not to ignore our concerns and our inputs that are related to the IEC. Most of the people who are obviously working within that organization may be very dishonest, they may be very incompetent, and getting involved in the things that they should not. But please take into consideration this input that I'm putting before you right now. Thank you.
Baie dankie voorsitter dat u my geleentheid gegee het om weer deel te neem vir 'n tweede keer. My insaag wat ek wil lewer is eintlik met betrekking tot 'n opmerking wat u as parlementêre lid gemaak het oor die kommernisse oor die OVK wat geopper is. Ons stem saam met die wetsontwerp. Dis nie 'n probleem nie, maar ons meen hulle die OVK implementeer dan nou die verkiesing en nou word daar vir ons gesê dat ons kan nie praat oor die OVK nie. dan mors ons eintlik ons tyd om hier te wees. Daar is baie voorstelle oor die OVK en nou sê u vir ons, u kan nie daarna luister nie. En ons wil wel vir u sê dat ons voel die OVK moet geherstruktureer word en dat 'n wetsontwerp daar gestel moet word om dit te doen. Dit is tog immers die OVK wat gemaak het dat die ANC die verkiesings wen. En as u dan nou vir ons sê ons kan nie oor die OVK praat en die probleme wat ons ervaar nie, is dit dan eintlik nie nodig vir ons om hier te wees nie. Ons moedig u wel aan dat hierdie proses hersien word, want daar is baie organisasies wat oneerlik is en onbevoeg is en ons vra regtig, neem die mense se insae en opinies rakende hierdie kwessie in ag. Baie dankie.
Thank you for the submission, and we note the submission made. I think I would respond largely on the last speaker when we close the session as a closing remarks on the basis of how we intend on dealing with the IEC process. But bear in mind, we're here on the basis of the court outcome, which indicates that we need to go through this process of the Electoral Amendment Bill. We're not here on the basis of doing an oversight visit that speaks to the Portfolio Committee, which in essence, IEC accounts to the Home Affairs Portfolio Committee. But we do note what you are saying, and we are not being dismissive towards issues that are being raised with regards to the IEC. We are just saying we are not in a position or in a jurisdiction to be able to make promises or provide clarity with regards to the IEC. We are not saying, we are not noting. And part of the other process that I've made an indication on, it was that I said the councillors that are present here, they must equally assist us in taking issues that relates to IEC. But I will further make remarks or comments when I do a closing remarks. So the next speaker can come to the podium.
Ons wil net weer eens noem dat ons terugvoer sal gee oor die OVK ten slotte van die vergadering. Ons is hier vandag as gevolg van die Grondwetshof wat uitspraak gedoen het en gevra het dat hierdie vergaderings plaas moet vind. En dus is ons besig om te praat oor die wysigingswetsontwerp op verkiesings. So neem in ag dat ons wel u insaag oor die OVK in ag neem en die feit dat ons sê ons nie huidiglik daarop kan fokus nie, beteken nie dat ons dit nie in ag neem nie. Ons kan ongelukkig nie terugvoer gee oor die OVK nie, maar ek sal wel aan die punt raak ten slotte van ons vergadering. Soos vroeër genoem, die raadslede wat hier teenwoordig is, help ons asseblief om hierdie punte wat genoem is van die OVK neer te noteer en in ag te neem. Dankie. Die volgende spreker kan begin.
So re kopa le leng tlhoko bagaetse gore kgang ya re ha fetsa go bua fano fa ya ditshwaelo ka ga IEC rona jaaka portfolio committee fano fa yes ke nnete gore tota ga ratla go buelela kgotsa go araba dipotso tse di amanang le yone mme fela se se leng teng ke gore ditshwaelo tsotlhe tse le di tlhagisang ka yone IEC ga se gore re di kgapela ko thoko ra di tlhokomologa ga re di tlhokomologe re diela tlhoko ebile re buile ya le gore ba councilor ba ba leng teng fano fa re kopa gore le bone ka tswetswe ba re thuse IEC e ikarabella go lefapha la merero ya selegae e leng Home Affairs so ha re fetsa fano fa re tswalla kopano ya rona ke tleo go bua mafoko a le mabedi a le mararo ka ga kgang e gore le tlhaloganye sentle mme lo itse gore gone tota ga se gore ra le tlhokomologa ba gaetso re tsatsi ya sengwe le sengwe seo le se buang ha re tswalela re tla tlhalosa ntlha eo lo re etse ka kelotlhoko.
Speaker, you can proceed with the submission.
Borre le bombe ke a dumedisa. Ke le bogele tshono e le nna ke lo reela ke re le nna ke supporta molaotlhomo o. Mare ano re a khamega ka lebaka le lengwe hela. Re na le dipotso go na le ditshwaelo. Ha o bona bontsi jwa kokwano bo sa eme ke lebaka la gore ba na le dipotso go na le ditshwaelo. So ke lebogela molaotlhomo o ka lebaka la gore o akaretsa le bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ba e leng gore ke bone ba ba ka kgonang go isa dilo tsa rona ko palamenteng. Kopo ya ka mo palamente ke gore thusang bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng. Lebaka legolo ke gore ha ba tla ba re batla ko bathong go na le makoko a e le gore a tla ka ditshepiso tse di seng tsone ba ba etella ko pele. So ba morafe ga o bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng batla ba setse ba reretswe thero e sinang diverse tse seng tsone e be nna gore bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ga ba itlhelele thekgo ya morae. So ke kopa palamente e thuse bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ka motlho o mongwe go dira yalo re tla ga Afrika Borwa e botoka. Bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng ba ka kgona gore emela go na le makoko a e le gore ba tla mo go rona ka ditshepiso tse seng tsone ba tla go raaketsa ha ba etsa go raaketsa ra ba voutela ha re fetsa go ba voutela ba ile go nna mo fatshe ba lebala gore ba tswa ko magaeng ba tswa ko kae ba tswa go tshepisa batho dilo tse e le gore ga ba kgone go di dira. So ga e le ntlhopho o ikemetseng re nna le ene mo motsi ra itse gore re tla mo kry-a ko kae motho o fetang ga o itse gore o tla mo kry-a ko kae ga etsa go aketsa o tsamaile. Ke a leboga.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is James Mabohole. I want to thank you very much for this opportunity. And then I want to state right from the beginning that I do support the bill. It is very, very effective that we can do this. Now, Chair, what I want you to take note of here is that there are problems, though. The problems are that people have more questions than comments. Now, that is what we are dealing with here. More questions than comments. That's what we find. But at the same time, we want to thank you as members of parliament for the fact that now you have been able to introduce the independent candidates, because then they will be able to go and present us very well at parliament. But now the request that we want to put forth is, please help these ones. Help these independent candidates, because there are many other political parties around and they seem to always be a step ahead of the independent candidates. They will come to the people, that is the parties themselves, and then start to actually broadcast their promises and their manifestos to them, telling them exactly what they're going to do, lying to the people. And once they have done this, then the people fall for it. And once they fall for this, what happens to our independent candidates? Then they fall by the wayside. So that is the problem that we are dealing with here. So our appeal then is that please help these independent candidates. They will do better than the political parties, I can promise you that. And another advantage about having independent candidates is that we know where to find them. So this structure is very much appreciated by us, but please render some help to them so that they can be very successful. Thank you, Chair.
Baie dankie voorsitter. My naam is James Mabugelo. Ek wil weer eens u bedank vir die geleentheid en dan wil ek ook noem dat ek die wetswysigingsontwerp ondersteun. Ek het opgemerk dat daar baie meer vrae gestel is as wat daar kommentaar gelewer is. Maar ek wil ook net die tyd vat om u te bedank dat onafhanklike kandidaate in verkiesings deel kan neem. Dit is goed dat hulle dus ons gemeenskappe kan verteenwoordig, maar ons vra dus aan die parlement om asseblief hulp te verleen aan hierdie onafhanklike kandidaate, want daar's vele politieke partye wat dalk 'n stap voor die onafhanklike kandidaate is. Wat ons wel ervaar is dat daar beloftes gemaak word deur politieke partye en ons gemeenskap val vir daardie beloftes. Ons gemeenskap glo daardie beloftes wat gemaak word en dit veroorsaak dat onafhanklike kandidaate ongelukkig aan die kantlyn begin sit. So dus vra ons asseblief aan die parlement om hulp te verleen aan ons onafhanklike kandidaate. Want wat wel 'n positiewe punt is vir die feit dat onafhanklike kandidaate in verkiesings kan deelneem, is die feit dat ons weet waar om hulle te vind. Al wat ons net van die parlement vra, is om asseblief hulp te verleen aan hierdie kandidaate. Baie dankie, voorsitter.
Thank you for the submission. We have closed the rounds that we've taken. We are no longer taking any hands on any rounds. Therefore, we are now closing the session. Let me firstly welcome all submissions that have been made in regards to the bill. Those submissions have been recorded by the team that is recording the submissions, and they've been taken into consideration. Therefore, the bill will be amended based on the submissions you have made in the House. And would like also to really appreciate the time you took out of your own comfort or your own responsibilities to come here and take part in these crucial discussions in shaping our democracy and making sure that you do have a voice towards the Electoral Amendment Bill. Therefore, in that instance, I did apologize when we started for starting late due to the time constraints we had, but we are going to close the session now. But in closing, I want to put this on record. We have taken note the complaints that, or the issues you might have raised in relation to the IEC. And we've taken note of them. We've flagged that matter because every second speaker that spoke or raising their grievances with regards to the IEC. We are going to take up this matter with the National Office of IEC in relations to Kuruman, and we are going to monitor that. As the chair of the session, I would be making follow-ups on this so that those matters you have raised here, they are really being addressed. And I don't speak for myself, I speak for the team that is in front of us to say we have taken considerations on the issues you have raised with regards to the IEC. It's just unfortunate we are unable to come and respond now with those matters. But we would make a process that IEC does come and respond, and in that sense, make sure that we do not have a repetition of the grievances that we are having towards the next coming national elections, which are in 2024. With that ado, I would like to officially accord the session closed. Thank you.
Baie dankie.
Before you could interpret, if there are still those who were not comfortable in raising their submissions on the floor, but they've written down those submissions, you are kindly welcome to bring them forth to the teams or the staff that is assisting with this process regarding your submissions. Thank you.
Baie dankie dames en here vir u teenwoordigheid hier. Ons het nou die rondes afgesluit en ons verwelkom al hierdie items wat genoem is en wat opgeneem word deur ons span. En onthou, hierdie insette wat gelewer is, word saamgestel in 'n verslag en dit is waarop die wysigings gebaseer sal word. Ons dankie vir u tyd om deel te neem aan hierdie proses en dat u nou ook 'n stem het in hierdie proses. Ons vra ook om verskoning dat ons laat begin het en dan ook ten slotte wil ek noem, ons het al die kommernisse rakende die OVK opgeneem. Dit sal dan opgevat word met die nasionale afdeling van die OVK en ek as die voorsitter sal dit persoonlik opvolg. En dan praat ek ook nie net namens myself nie, maar ook vir my span. Ongelukkig is ons nie vandag in 'n posisie om dadelik te kan reageer op hierdie kommernisse wat geopper is rakende die OVK nie, maar dit sal met hulle opgevat word en dit sal aangespreek word sodat daar nie weer so 'n geval plaasvind in die volgende verkiesing nie. Dan wil ek ook vir u noem, as u dalk nie 'n geleentheid gekry het om te praat nie of nie dalk wou 'n spreekbeurt hê nie, maar u het 'n dokument of 'n indiening wat u wil voorlê. U is welkom om dit aan die admin span oor te lewer of oor te gee sodat dit ook op rekord gestel kan word en daarmee sluit ons amptelik die vergadering. Baie dankie.
So jaaka ha re tswalla bagaetsho re kopa go lo itsese le gore ditshwalo tsotlhe tsa lona tse le di ntshitseng di rekotilwe ka mantswe a mang di gatisitswe di sireletsegile re di utlwile ne re batla go le lebogela go bodile la ipha tšhono ya go tla go tsaya karolo mo kopano eno ya rona e amanang le mametlelelo ya molaotlhomo wa rona wa ditlhopho re ile ra tseela kwa pelong mathata otlhe ao le a tlhagisitseng mo pele ga rona ba le bantsi ba lona le ka rre le ena a na bua fano fa ba bua thata ba umaka IEC mme re batla go le bolelela gore sentlentle le bone re tla ba ra tshwara ditherisano le bone go ba itsisi ka ga maikutlo a lona gore lo ntse lo tlhagisa dintlha dife ke batla go bua fano fa mo pele ga setlhopha se ke berekang le sona gore ya ka ha re ntse yana ra itse gore ke se se tlileng go direga seo ka maswabi ga re kgone go rarabolla mathata lona a la tlhagisang re berekana fela le go reetsa ditshwaelo tsa lona kgotsa dingongorego tsa lona e le gore re tsamaye re go di sekaseka di tle di kgone go newa tharabololo ya tsona e tlhokegang mme ebile gape re batla le go le bolelela gore IEC le yone e tla itse ka ga matshwenyego a la tlhagisitseng e tla ema ka dinao le yone go ikarabela gore ka dipotso gongwe tse e leng gore bontsi ba lona le ile la nna la di botsa ene seo se tla direga re solofela gore maemo a tla tokafala pele ga ditlhopho tsa 2024 so le solofeleng go itse gore seo sotlhe re tla se dira bangwe ba lona ba ka tswa ba na le dingongorego tsa bone kgotsa ditshwaelo tsa bone tse ba di kwadileng mo pampiring re kopa gore ka tswetswe ga le gore le na le tsone ga la kgona go bua mme fela le di kwadile re di neye maloko a setlhopha sa rona gore ba tsamaye ka tsone di ye go lejwa le tsone di tle di kgone go arabiwa ra leboga
Thank you. We can then leave. The session is officially closed.
kopano ya rona e tswetswe semmuso jaanong re ka gololosega
Dankie, die vergadering is nou amptelik gesluit.